Hello everybody, my name is Troublemaker, and this is the Wargame Cup Round 7! I think it's like 16 players left now, it's getting kind of crazy. And our first player is Dzimmu. No O in there, it's just Dzimmu. Last round he eliminated Radis X Radis. He's actually been knocking out quite a few players, and he's doing very, very well. And the other player is Fiva55, who has been wiping out a few players, and particularly wiped out Tigga last round with a pretty sturgeon all-in. And both players very, very good. I think both of them are a little under 2,000. I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a runny nose right now, so if I sound like I'm sniffing, it's not because I do cocaine or anything like that, although I do. It's because I have a runny nose. So first matchup of this series, this is called Straight Ahead, and it's a little bit of an oddball map. Right off the bat, your eye should glance to two glaring imbalances on the map. At north of Alpha, or I guess this would be east, there is this giant forested area with lots of buildings and lots of opportunities to create a reinforcement block on Foxtrot. A glaring imbalance, actually, because if you can get an infantry in any one of these areas, you can cause a world of pain. You just have to get along this line here. Very, very easy. I wonder if Dzimmu will abuse this or not. The other glaring imbalance is right here. It's a big, giant open field. And since there's so much giant open area here, it means that tanks will be very effective aggressively here to try and attack Echo. It means that you'll be using a lot of anti-tank weapons, specifically the rocket-based ones. Anti-aircraft will have a field day. And even aircraft might work out pretty well, especially the rocket-based ones that have a very, very long range. So this is a huge imbalance on the map. And you also note that there are these fire locations, which are a little easier for Alpha, the pact player, to capture because of the relative closeness to the forests. Whereas these ones, they have towns and are much, much harder to maintain. Not really as much forest and a lot of open areas, meaning that the units are going to be very much easier to snipe. So, you know, an oddball map, I'll say that. And how these players will abuse things. Generally speaking, the first player should go for Foxtrot Pact here, and then try to take a hotel. And then the NATO player, the Dzimmu, should try and take Echo and get Delta. And usually what happens is there's a little bit of a battle in between right here. And sometimes you even see like Echo go to hotel. There could be engagement here. And because they're all equal point values, because they're all relatively close to almost equidistant, hotel's just slightly longer away from Echo, you can see a lot of small skirmishes here. So looking at the choices of Fiva55, looks like he's going for a lot of these BTR-70 Zalos, tank destroyer prototypes, and actually going for a full 2 veterancy on these guys, so he's going pretty ballsy on that. It's about 30 bones per. Lots of infantry. I see he's got a nice selection of transport helicopters. Might be going for something sneaky, or maybe trying to use these defensively. And a single anti-aircraft. And he also has a Dana. Good choice. One Dana is good. Multiple, not so much. We have lots of infantry from Dzimmu. Also went for these modern VTSIs, which are basically like the clone of the Zalos, or as I've been informed, Shalos. And he's going for these long rocket-based things. Good choice as well, just because of the terrain. You can see lots of open areas for rockets, so he'll be able to use these very defensively to maintain positions. And looks like he's got 2 commands, and he's got 2 transfer helicopters, so he might try and sneak ahead and either grab one of these towns or grab this wooded area. So lots of great areas for Dzimmu to really abuse. And by the looks of things, we might see Fiva55 go for Bravo, and that is exactly what I think is going to happen. It looks like Fiva55 is going to go for Bravo, or maybe even Charlie, and then he's going to take Foxtrot with an artillery, and I don't see the advantage. We'll have to see. He's got to have a plan. These guys have been practicing quite a bit. The people who lose this tournament so far are people who are admitting that they're out of practice. It's kind of unfortunate. Midterms are coming up for a lot of people, and most of these players are students, so I mean they're not going to have insanely much free time, and it takes 2 to tango. You have to find people for that. And looks like Dzimmu is actually going to stick at golf for now with his command armor. Probably going to try and play safe for now. Fiva55 did do an infantry helicopter all in last round, so, and looking at his choice of units, he's kind of prepared for that. He's got a fair amount of anti-aircraft units, lots of infantry, lots of these Martyr VTSIs, which will counter the infantry quite well. So, yeah, have to see if they have plans for this map. It's a very long map, too, and I suspect that helicopters will come into play just because of how long it is. Now, it does get very congested if the players do focus around the middle. If both players go for the middle, helicopters will not be so advantageous. But because Fiva55 is going to go for Charlie, that kind of changes things quite a bit. And it would actually be in the interest of Dzimmu to actually probably rush out some helicopters and just go for a little bit of all in against this command armor here, which is really not all that well defended. It's just a few infantry units, no real commands. And leading the charge are 2 anti-aircraft vehicles, and here comes the transport helicopters. Will one of them get caught? Looks like maybe. No, he drops it off just in time. He's going to go ahead and secure these frontal locations. He does get the anti-aircraft. Now, will he clear the Delta Force? That's the question. It looks like so far he's going to kill off a few units, and he's got another one planted here at Foxtrot. Very good location. That's going to block the reinforcement point for Fiva55, and Fiva55 is actually going to go for oddball, Delta, and Bravo. Doesn't currently have a reinforcement point. Very oddball. So it means he's going to have to do a lot of damage with his opening push to try and gain some ground here. He will get a slight advantage in points by having that Delta location ahead of his opponent, but he will not be rallying out of units. Of course, for this opening part, he probably won't be rallying out of units. It's actually really risky to do this because if his opponent went for some kind of cheese, he wouldn't be in a good position to really bring out any anti-aircraft or anti-infantry or anti-tank or whatever rush he's going to face against. And it looks like a grab of hotel and golf from Dzimmu. So very slowly, Fiva55 is going to gain points. Now, Dzimmu's got to have a good opportunity here. If he can isolate Foxtrot, he can get very, very far ahead of his opponent. And small little infantry battles are going to happen. And for this map, this is generally what's expected to happen. A lot of small skirmishes happening. Securing this town is relatively important because this will be a major flanking path. And just by having units here to block it, both players are kind of creating a stalemate scenario where neither can use it. So until one player can effectively beat the other, this is going to happen. The AMX 10P firing on this group of Moto Strauss, which are a little too far forward. Going to get chewed up by the Shassas from us, and there's maybe just too much here for Dzimmu. One squad retreating. Might want to try and get into this little town here. And yeah, I find infantry skirmishes relatively boring. The problem with infantry skirmishes for me is they're not very strategic. And a lot of it has to do with luck. I mean, right now, Dzimmu's units are very clumped up. So if Fiva55 is able to rush out a squad, he could throw one rocket and do a lot of damage, whereas the opponent would not do so much damage. And here we go. Fiva55 is going to come in with the rest of his army. And he's got a lot here, actually. He's going to try and secure Echo Base with his command armor and rally in some units at the flank. Very weird, very odd strategy. I wonder who he practiced this with, because, oh my god, this is just odd. But with this command here now, he's going to be able to rally units around the flank. And he's going for some really cheap T-55s, 6 of them. Any veterancy? None. And he's got a recon unit. Of course, there will be a helicopter here for Dzimmu who will come around and see this, and immediate push forward. Moto Strauss, he's in the forest. There are some Zalas here that can support, but okay, here they go. They're winding up. They're on the fire position command, maybe. Nope. Choosing not to. And they might want to vacate these Zalas before they lose too much, but the Danas coming with a crushing blow. Big stun. Hit so many infantry there. Just crushed that. And that might be enough to actually win this battle and secure this woods location. And actually now the tactics have really switched because... Pause. It's time to think about what just happened here. Dzimmu was just assuming, like I did, and everybody did, that Fiva55 would take this location here. So he kind of slanted all of his army and a huge investment around securing this side of the map, making sure that Foxtrot was harder to take. He also took this hotel location, thinking that, you know, he's relatively safe, because as long as he puts pressure here, he's fine. And now here's the big crushing move. He's going through the center on the place that would be least defended. And if we look at really where Dzimmu has his forces, he does have a selection of toes and martyr VTSIs, which will be able to block this fairly effectively. However, his command armor is going to be in a very compromised position. So this is an attack that has a lot of chance of success. And so here we go. One unit goes down. The Taupe has this move forward. Looks like he's going to stop, though. There is a T-80 in the army. He doesn't want to lose that. That is quite an expensive unit. And so far, so good. But he's got to get out of sight of this, which means moving all the way across the map into this very dangerous location. And will he be able to abuse this? I don't know. Two T-80s? That's crazy. Nobody gets two T-80s. That's insane. T-80s are generally not used because they're so freaking expensive, and losing them is dangerous. Looks like this is always going to try and wind up trying to pick off more units. So far the battle is going very much in favor of the 555. He's clearing out most of this woods location, and he has his foot in here. Once he has this woods location, he's going to have a great opportunity. He can muster in some rockets and some tank destroyers through the woods and try and take out some of this stuff. He also has T-85s coming from the back, flanking like a madman, and he's going to try and take out what he can. Almost any one of these targets will be significant for him. And looks like he's going to try and tangle with these martyr BTSIs, both having 2 vefed points on them, and not really doing a ton of damage here. The Dana's trying to support. Looks like they're going for the supply trucks, which is, of course, a good target. Anti-tank vehicles are very specifically supply locked and have a lot of trouble surviving without constant supply. These toes only have like 4 rockets each, so they go to the ammunition very quickly. And BTR Zal is going to rush across. It's BTR Zalas versus Martyr BTSIs, and currently there's more BTR Zalas on the map than there are Martyr BTSIs, so huge advantage coming across the field for 555 as he's just doing insane damage. He's moving these VPZUs across the field. Of course, there's really nothing here that can really attack these, so why not? These are all the Martyr BTSIs, I suppose, and the recons. Actually, everything can attack this, and so he quickly pokes it back in, and still moving across the map, more T-55s coming from the flank, and this has just been a very good, cost-effective attack here for 555. I'm really liking this. He got this position here so he can come in and flank his opponent. Very smart, very good play, and it's actually forcing a retreat from Dzimmu. He realizes this battle is lost, and he needs to get these Martyr BTSIs out of here before he loses too much. And it's just a full-fledged runaway. Unfortunately, he has no real way of getting the commander out of here at all. You could try and move it over to Juliet, but there's no real escort here for it. So that's going to be kind of become a problem for Monsieur Dzimmu. And he's got a Gazelle coming up. This is kind of one of these I'm scared shitless type units, but it will come into effect. However, 555 does have a Przik Igla here in the woods ready to go. He's kind of practiced this push quite effectively, and this is not something like Ben Guru does has a build and he does it and he just responds to things as they come. This is a very well prepared practice build. He assumed very, very specific things, and it's mostly worked out for him. The commander is not getting pulled back. I don't think it would matter anyway. Dzimmu doesn't really have a point to pulling it back, because if he was, it would just get trapped. So most of the army for 555 is going to go ahead and try and kill off most of these units, while a few units try to engage this position here. Now, it's still kind of a scary position because there is a Zippo in here, and you never really want to charge into a Zippo. And here we go. He's pulling back the command armor and all the vehicles and all the infantry. He's going to try and make an escape. He's got all the points he can out of this, and getting kind of scary. This could have been over very, very fast. 585 is actually a scary player now. When he started the tournament, he was good, but he wasn't fantastic. He wasn't great. And now he's kind of become a great player. And a lot of people are very angry at him for cheesing. But these are very effective, well-controlled, well-organized pushes. This was not a cheese. And this is one of the top players in the game right here. At least as far as the team league's concerned. And actually, 555 not even going to go for the cheap command snipes. He's just going to continue pushing forward, wants to eliminate all these units. He wants to just crush the army of Dzimmu. He wants to tell everybody out there, who ever questioned him for his last victory, well, I could have crushed him, but why waste my time? I just don't see how Dzimmu can get out of this. He's going to try and rally in more of these helicopters, But there is a Tigga here with their Igla rocket. Very non-mobile, so these helicopters should be able to do some damage, but I mean, one small mistake, and we'll have a helicopter going down. So it looks like you're going to try and bring some some infantry around the back, where the Zippo has been repositioned for this, and we'll be able to cover that. The Cobra also going to do some stun damage and pick them off very well. And there's really, okay, here comes the anti-aircraft, the two OSA AKMs. Now note, not too much defense here for the 555. You're looking for a hole in the strategy. It would be right here. Here's just two strat. Look at this place. It's ridiculous. Just littered with BTR 60 pies and whatnot. And yeah, he's going to go ahead and flank. And this means this command armor will not be able to escape, which is a pretty big thing. And could also get some of these toes here, which have been kind of a bane right now, doing quite a bit of damage. Each of them gained veterancy, which is very rare for toes. Toes generally don't gain veterancy because they only have 4 shots. And it's just slow, methodical movement for 555. He really knows right now that he can throw away the game by playing badly. But if he sits back, he can't it's probably too hard for him to lose the game. He's 900 points ahead. His opponent isn't tapping out just yet. So realistically, Dzimmu's got to think, random this could have an effect. And that's absolutely true. If he's able to pick off enough units, trade cost effectively, come back. It's just a really, really steep climb. The Zippo is going to wipe out all these infantry, and so this is going to be a very cost-ineffective trade. Command armor is just slightly repositioning itself. He's very secure in this location. I don't know why there's no artillery power in this location, all things considered. And yeah, just wiping out everything. Here comes the Zollos. This really should have come with the push, of course. And these Zollos should be able to deal with pretty much everything in here. Nothing should be able to escape the grasp. Here comes the nice little von Schlieffen flank in by Dzimmu. Comes in with lots of infantry. Now that most of the infantry of 555 are gone, this is going to be a lot more effective. And this might be Dzimmu's way to get back in the game. The Zolo is just too cost effective though. Look at these bad boys. God. Just wiping out these VABs before they can get somewhere. There's also a big giant collection of T-80s. God, who uses T-80s? Who? Well, actually I do. And T-55, so he's doing very, very well. And Moto Strelkis, of course, still going to die to the Zippos. Lots of morale damage happening here. The VPZs are trying to find a location where they can get in nice and cushy. And Dzimmu taps out. That's it. He's so far behind. 1,800 points behind. A very clear victory for 555, who I guess climbed up the ladder quite a bit since we last seen him, because he was never that high. All right. So that's my game. I can't guarantee when the next game will be. Probably relatively soon, though. Most games are getting played on Sunday. And I'll try to keep this going. At least one game a day. My name is Troublemaker. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you again tomorrow.